sometimes when you reflect on life, you think about all the accomplishments that you, or maybe the accomplishments that you wanted to do, and you come to the conclusion that at the end of the day, there's so much to be thankful for, especially for the people that are in your life. And sometimes so many people go through our lives and we just don't simply express how thankful we are for them. And so, because this is going to be very important, because more than our accomplishments, our community is what truly brings us to life. It is truly what brings us purpose in our life. It's the community around us and ultimately the community that we have with God and us. So, again, just look at your person to your left and right and say, good, happy Sunday. I am thankful that you are here. Our situations give us a perspective, or the way we see things. Our situations shift and mold and transform the way we see either people or situations, or just the way our experiences in life, right? So I'm going to show you something like, I shared this before in the past. I don't know if you guys remember, but I was speaking at a retreat. It was a retreat of like this. It was like a regional retreat, and there's a bunch of speakers, and I was one of them. And this is like about several years back. And the worship was good. You know, the altar call usually happens after the sermon. So I was slotted in to speak that night. You know, I think it was like the second or third night, and worship was going. It was the Spirit decided to break out and break through our plans, our agendas. You know, sometimes we have plans and God likes to say, you know what, I'm going to go with my plan, so follow me. And it was one of those nights. You know, our plan was like, okay, after sermon is always the altar call. After sermon is always when it's like everyone starts, you know, crying, weeping, whatnot, right? But it already happened before the sermon, so I'm just sitting there confused. I say, God, what are you doing? But okay, let's see what's going on. And I remember one of the pastors was calling the people up and said, you know what, I know we don't usually do this, and I know this is not usually the plan, but everyone come to the altar if you want to receive Jesus Christ. And I was like, it's gonna be an interesting one, right? I was like, do I even have to go speak anymore? You know, it's already like done, right? So people are coming up, and people are like, if you want to receive Jesus Christ, you know, get on your knees and let's start praying, you know, repentance prayers and all that stuff. And there's like lots of people just on the front row, on their knees, crying and praying and receiving Jesus Christ, right? And I was like getting all hyped up as a pastor. I was like, yes, not only do I not have to speak, but people are coming and meeting Jesus Christ. And I remember people were praying for each other, and I was like, this is the situation. I can just only imagine, you know, the lights are semi-lit, you know, and so it's like you're just kind of like looking in the room as people are just crying, weeping, you know, more tears, snot everywhere. Praise the Lord, right? And I had in my heart, it's like, I'm going to pray for someone. Someone's going to come and meet Christ to die. You know, I was like, this is it. And I saw this guy over here in the corner, and I was like, and I looked at him. I saw his shiny, bald head, and I was like, wow, the glory of the Lord is clearly on his head right now. Right? And I was like, he is ripe, like a ripe avocado. He's ready to go. And I was looking at him, and I was like, I was waiting for my time. And everyone's crying. Everyone's still crying. It's getting, you know what? For some of the worship is going crazy. He's going ham. He's going crazy. And everyone's like crying, weeping, and everyone's like seeing Christ. He goes, Jesus! You know, I was like, yes, this is the time. I'm going to pick this avocado. You know? And so I was like, this is it. You're going to meet Christ tonight. And so I come up to him. I just, you know, just got that sympathy, you know, like head movement. I was like, yes, Lord. You know? And I put my hand on his shoulder, and I was just praying, Lord Jesus Christ, may he meet you tonight. He was falling away from you, but Lord, he has come in repentance. You see the tears, you see the snot, you see the trail of snot, and Lord, oh man, this is the time for him to be saved. And I was like, this is it. And then he stops, moving his head, he stops crying. I was like, man, that was quick. He stops, he looks up. He does a slight kind of like, what's going on? And then he turns his head and looks at me, and I'm looking at him, and I'm just like, this is it, man. Your night is not going to be the same. Because you know what? The whole situation is telling me that this guy's meeting Christ, and this guy's going to be saved. And he looks at me, and he says, I'm so sorry. I was like, you don't have to be sorry. Jesus will forgive your sins. You know? But he said, I'm already saved. And I was like, why are you up here then? Did you not hear the speaker? He said, everyone who wants to meet Jesus Christ for the first time, come upstairs, come up to the front. And my ripe avocado is no longer ripe anymore. And I was like, what's going on? And he's like, I just felt so compelled to pray for my students. You're a leader? I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, man. And it's like, I just felt moved to pray and weep and cry. And I was like, oh man, I'm about to weep and cry because my discernment was all off. And he's like, what's your name? I was like, my name's Mike. What are you here? I'm one of the guest speakers. I'm a pastor, He's like, I'm gonna probably just preach in like 5 minutes. Can you pray for me? A role reversal, right? My vision, my view, my perspective was it was shifted by the atmosphere of what I thought was going on, what was seen before me. I wish someone told me that this guy was a leader. I wish someone told me that this guy was already saved, because it would have saved a lot of embarrassment on my behalf. Because again, remember, situations, what we come with, what we believe, what we already come to the situation, seeing will dictate how we act. And a lot of times, our circumstances, again, and our situations, even our past mistakes or our past victories, helps shift and transform or move or change the way we see people or situations in the present and in the future. I see. Now, why am I saying this? Because vision is very key. How you see things is going to determine how you're going to receive things, how you're going to interact with people. I have a brother I used to live with. I'm not going to call his name out, but there's very few brothers in this room that I lived with. It's only 2. 3, because he's going to come later on. I'm not going to narrow it down. I'm going to narrow it down. He cuts hair. So, he is the resident Bethany hair cutter. And so, he gave me my haircut. Our relationship is unique because I don't know when he's serious. He's so he's such a character. He has so much energy, so much charisma. He loves to play a lot. And I remember I told him, bro, you know what? I was like frustrated, but you know what? When you call me and you're in serious trouble, I won't even pick up. You know why? I won't even acknowledge that you're in trouble. Why? Because I don't even know if you're trolling or not. He's hanging on the cliff, help me, and I'm like, you're playing. And I just leave him, he actually falls off the cliff. It's like that story of the boy who cried wolf. And so right now, sometimes, when I see him in the moment, I see him in the future, I have to really fight against my past experience, maybe this time he's serious. I don't know. Remember, our situation, our past experience will shift the way we see things. Today's topic is about seeing well. A lot of times we try to see well just by ourselves, and a lot of times we are blinded to ourselves, and we do not actually see well at all. We get consumed by what's in front of us, and we don't see what's beyond us or who's inside of us. We're so focused on the present circumstances. Now, if you look at today's passage, there's 3 times that the preacher, the one who's writing this, says, I saw. Now let's look at this. Verse 1, it says this, again I saw all the oppressions that were done under the sun. And behold, the tears of the oppressed, and they had no one to comfort them. On the side of the oppressors there was power, and there was no one to comfort them. Now, he's saying, I see the situation right now. There's oppressors and there's oppressed. And there's no one that's saving them. There's the tears of the ones being oppressed. The tears of the ones, being bullied are many. This is the situation. And the ones that are bullying others, the ones that are oppressing others, they are strong and powerful. This is what he sees. And what he sees is changing the way he thinks. Why? Because if you look at verse 2, this is what it says. And I thought. Say with me, I thought. See, there's 225 people in here. And that was 50. Say with me on count 1, 2, 3. I thought. Clearly I'm a motivational speaker today. On a count of 3. Say I thought with me. 1, 2, 3. I thought. He said, I see and I thought. Why? Because what we see can dictate what we think. Right? So he says, I thought the dead who are already dead more fortunate than the living who are still alive. What a ray of sunshine. Right? He's saying, I see this oppression, I see this bullying, I see this injustice, and nothing's being helped. And so because he sees this is what he's thinking because of what he sees. I thought the dead who are already dead more fortunate or better off than the living who are still alive. How morbid. You know what the thing is? The only time the living are ever envious of the dead is when the living has lost hope in the present. And when you lose hope, you start envying things. Even like, I wish I was gone. I wish I was not even here. See, he says, the dead are already more fortunate. Why? Because he, in his circumstance, what he sees is hopelessness, and therefore he adopted hopelessness. Again, your situation can dictate the way you see. For him, he's saying, I see the oppression, I see no answer to it. I see the bullying, I see no answer to it. I see the pain, and I see no answer to it. And therefore, I'm going to think that, it's better off not being alive. The only time, again, the living ever envy the dead is when there's no hope. You know what the thing is? The situation is, the answer is when you are in a place where, let's say even your desires or your situation is not going away, and you dare to hope, and it got smashed. Like, it just got utterly smashed. Like, Your temptation, the temptation is to never hope again. It's that it's better not to have hope. It's better to have not have rest. And that is a lie that we cannot, that's a road that we cannot go under. Because better is the road to hope. Better is the road, see, I'd rather live a life that is not a bunch of what ifs, but that I actually did what I could to move forward and risk it. Even though there's pain, there might be the possibility of pain, but there's also the possibility of tremendous joy. See, when you don't choose to risk at anything, when you choose not to hope at anything, you may be alive physically, but you'll never truly know what it means to live. The answer to being hope dashed is not to not ever hope again. The answer is to hope even more bravely. And there is an answer to how we can do that when we are so weak in ourselves. But we'll get that to the later. So he says, I see the oppression, but I see no hope in it. So therefore, I adopt a position of hopelessness. All right? Now, the next thing comes from verse 4. He says, then I saw, again, that word saw, seeing, being able to see or saw or whatever the case may be, whatever tense you want to use. He says, verse 4, then I saw that all the toil, all the work, and all the skill and work come from a man's envy of his neighbor. This also is vanity, or we could say meaningless, and striving after wind. He saw people working hard. But then he saw people working hard because they were jealous or envious of the people around him. Look at what that person has. So therefore, I'm going to work hard to have exactly what that person has. Or like, I see that this person is getting blessed. And so therefore, in my jealousy or my fear that I'm not going to get my own blessing, I'm going to do whatever I can to get that person's blessing. We've been tempted that way, right? When we see someone who's getting everything, like that brother who just got a PS4, a MacBook. Was there something else after that? You don't need anything after that. First of all, that's like, he got a PS4 and Mac. That's already, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I'm gonna go to, what's your address? It's a PS4 right now, right? When we look at situations like this, like, instead of celebrating, we're like, why not me? And therefore, you start working hard, or maybe or nagging your parents. Mama, I too need a PS4. Why? Just because. That person had it too. That person had it too. I need it too. And you don't even know why. You know what's funny? Jealousy sometimes makes you do stupid things and ask for stupid things. When I was growing up, my cousins, they used to get clothes before me for whatever reason. I don't know why. And I'm older than one of them. So I was like, what the heck is this? But I remember one time that this, I can't believe, I'm glad there's no picture of this. My cousins were given these nice overalls, like blue jean overalls. And I went to my mom, Mama, I too want blue overalls. Maybe you can pull it off. Maybe a select few who are chosen can pull it off, but most people can't pull off overalls. Me being one of them. But I really wanted them. And so like, my mom had this other outfit for me. I'm like, I have this, no, I want the overalls. Give me the overalls. Can you imagine like a 2-foot child, a fat child asking for overalls? That's not good, And I was like, give me the overalls. And I got the overalls, and now that I look back at it, man, I was ugly as heck. What was I thinking? The outfit that my mom showed me that she was going to give me was far greater than the overalls that I was wearing. And I had to wear them for the rest of the year. How embarrassing. Wearing overalls in the winter. Right? And I had a white collar shirt underneath it too. Like, oh my gosh, combo disaster. But because I was so jealous, I was so envious, I was so blind, I was like, this is what I want. And that's not what I wanted. I was just, in my jealousy, I worked and I toiled, meaning I toiled and begged my mom give me the overalls. Please. And he's saying that is so meaningless. Why? Because when you are working and trying to copy others, what happens is that not only can you not celebrate with others, but you isolate yourself for yourself. It's all about you. You looking good. But this is the thing. This is the crazy thing. When you start copying others, you fundamentally are denying yourself. Why? Because you stop being yourself and you start trying to copy someone else. And therefore, this is the thing. When you start trying to copy and trying to get the blessing that other people are getting, you're forgetting that God has a specific blessing for you. A specific blessing for you. A specific encounter with you. And when we walk in that jealousy, we think we're building community. Because I look exactly like my friends. I have the exact same things as my friends. But at the end of the day, conformity is not unity. True unity requires diversity. Conformity is not unity. It's just the killing of diversity. And so in this very moment, he says, even that is meaningless. When we look at vanity or means, he's screaming like, that's stupid. This is stupid. Right? And there's a third I saw. A third one comes from verse 7. And it says this. Again, I saw vanity under sun, or meaninglessness under sun. One person who has no other, either son or brother, yet there is no end to all his toil. And his eyes are never satisfied with riches, so that he never asks, for whom am I toiling and depriving myself of pleasure? This also is meaningless. This is also meaningless. He's talking about this idea that when you start working for yourself and all you think about is your own blessing, all you think about is what you can do for yourself, you're fundamentally isolating yourself from community. You're fundamentally saying, I can do it by myself. When you start working for yourself, he says it here in verse 7, it says, his eyes are never satisfied with riches. You know what's interesting? This is a free tip. A free revelation. As I was preparing this, maybe because I was hungry at the time while I was preparing. I was so hungry last night. But I resisted, praise the Lord, by His grace. You know what the funny thing is? Food and fellowship both start with F. Praise team, come up. Food and fellowship start with the same word, same letter. Not word, letter. And think about this. Food and fellowship. Why? Because food was meant to be enjoyed with friends in fellowship. FFF. I don't think it's coincidence that Jesus always was enjoying meals with his fellow disciples. I don't think it's coincidence that food and fellowship both will start with F, and friendship starts with F, and friends starts with F. I'm saying F a lot. Some of you are like, Pastor Mike, don't say F again. You know why I'm saying this? Because when I was growing up, I know I'm saying a lot of stories in the past, because it's just a coincidence. I used to love, actually I don't used to, I still love French fries. I don't know about you, my favorite French fry, if I were to choose a French fry from a fast food restaurant, man, fast food, French fry, letter F. Today's letter is F, you know? I think McDonald's is the best. Oh, now you're awake, huh? No, you know what, Five Guys, they give you a lot, and that's good. Five Guys, that's amazing. But you know what, I'm gonna tell you a tip. This is a big boy tip. When you go to McDonald's, don't ever ask for fries just for fries. If you want fresh, crispy fries, you ask for fries unsalted. They have to make it fresh. You're welcome. Because when you ask for unsalted, they don't ever have unsalted fries. They have to make it fresh on the spot. So it comes fresh, it comes nice and hot and crispy. And then you can get your own little salt pack and just put a little salt. But when I was growing up, I used to love French fries. Again, I still love French fries. And so what we do during lunch, especially in middle school, for some reason they got rid of French fries in high school. I don't know why. That's not right. I used to go around and start eating everyone's French fries. Boldness, misapplied. So I go around my friends, hey, can I have some of that? We all know that one friend. Yo, can I have some of that? Can I have some of that? Yo, you gonna finish that? Yo, you got that? And I used to eat all the fries. And they will be Cajun fries, so it would be extra salty. And I used to go to the soda machine every day when soda was only 50 cents. I just put in 2 quarters, boom, get a soda. My favorite soda was Mountain Dew. You know, so I used to drink soda, French fries, and burgers every day, Hot Pockets, when I felt very adventurous, which was pretty much every day. And I used to eat it. But this is the thing. I need to apologize to my middle school friends if I ever see them again. I used to just take their fries and I just go to the next person, I'll take their fries. I go to the next person, I just take their fries. And this thing, I had a boatload of my own fries at the same time. So I have my own fries and I'm eating other people's fries. How fun is that? You know, and so I'm just eating all this fries and I'm just gaining this massive amount of weight. Now, why am I talking about my childhood past about fries? Remember, food needs to be enjoyed with friends in fellowship. See, when it becomes about, my fear was I was never going to be full. I was never going to have enough. So therefore, I try to take as much as I can, greedily as I can. And when we live that mindset where it's all about ourselves, we neglect fellowship, and we get what we want, but at the end of the day, it's slowly killing us. It's slowly making us fat. It's slowly like clogging up our arteries of our spiritual lives. And instead of enjoying the rich fullness of fellowship with friends, we are slowly dying to our own greed and our own desires. That is pointless and meaningless, and it is vanity. I was enjoying my fries, I was getting my desires, but because it was all about me, not only was I neglecting the community around me, not only was I neglecting fellowship, but even though I was getting what I wanted, it was that thing that I wanted that I was getting greedily was slowly killing me. And that is pointless. And I'm going to close with this. If you look at verse 9 through 12, it says this: 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for the toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. Again, now, verse 11. Again, if 2 lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? When I read this, I feel like some brothers are going to use this during retreat fellowship. How can one man keep warm alone? You can't. Right? Again, if 2 lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though a man might prevail against one who is alone, 2 will withstand him. 3 full cord is not quickly broken. You know what's the most comforting? No, when I was this is from, I don't know about elementary school, because you don't really get, I don't know, maybe you do nowadays. But from middle school all the way to college to grad school, you are given projects, right? You're given written, like writing assignments, right? How many of you got assignments that are due soon? Praise the Lord. May the Lord grant you victory. Some of us, I know you guys don't have midterms anymore. That's crazy. Or some of you do. But you guys have tests, you guys have midterms, you guys have projects, right? You know what's very scary? And I actually experienced this in grad school too. When I had like a big paper that was due, and I had papers due in every class, right? And I haven't started this 12-page paper with research, it's due in 2 weeks. I don't know if some of you guys can feel what I'm feeling, what I felt. I remember I was sitting in class all nervous, feeling so condemning myself. I was like, why didn't you start sooner? Why didn't you start sooner? You shouldn't have watched YouTube. What are you doing looking at me, And I remember I was sitting in class all distraught, sweating, and very angry and bitter and feeling lonely. And then I look at my friend, and I was like, and I just reached out for hope. I was like, yo, I'm not doing too hot. He's like, what's going on? I didn't start this essay that is due. It's 12-page with research. We need at least 12 resources. None of them from the internet. All from books. And he looks at me. And these are the words that every student in my situation would love to hear. Me too. Me too. you know what happens every time I hear that, I've heard that, I was like, I'm not alone. We can do this together. Why is that so profound? Why? Because at that moment, you realize the perspective is that you are not alone, but that there's someone with you in this miserable boat. But that together, you guys can get out of your situation. Together you can encourage each other to hope again. See, in that very moment, when he said, me too, it brought comfort that one, I'm not alone. And two, that I have someone that I can work with. And three, that there's this renewed hope that I can do this with the partner in front of me. A lot of times when I'm faced with a difficult situation, I feel more empowered to meet the situation when I know that there are people praying for me and that there are people watching my back. You know what the thing about perspective is seeing well? A lot of times we try to see well by ourselves, but when we are isolated, we cannot see well. Why? Because we have so many blind spots in our lives. So many things that overwhelm us. We see something like, oh my gosh, there's no hope. But until someone who gets an outside perspective comes into our lives and you know what? There is hope. There is a solution. There is an answer. And ultimately, you are not alone. It gives us the hope to stand up and fight again. And to fight the good fight of faith. See, the reason why a lot of times we are so stressed is because we think we're doing this alone, and therefore we have to work on our own, and we have to strive on our own, and we have to do everything by our own hands. But if we truly sit back and realize that true perspective can only be gained in community, and that when I contribute to community, that is not for my detriment or my downfall, but for my betterment, we come to the realization that community is the thing that gives us true perspective on life. The right perspective. The hopeful perspective. You know guys, as you guys are closing out this year, the temptation is to do it by yourself. I know a lot of us hate group projects. Why? Because we feel like we've got to be the one doing it. And sometimes with our spiritual life, we think that we got to do it by ourselves. And then we get overwhelmed. But today, the speaker said, I saw, and he saw nothing but negative, and he had a negative mindset. But until he starts talking about community, his perspective changed. And there's a realization that community centered and looking towards God and encouraging one another will give us the right vision, eyes, and view on life. Guys, you can't do this by yourself. I know I can. I have people in my life who tell me like it is. Do I like hearing it? No. But do I need it? Yes. So today, I want to encourage you guys. When you face a situation, especially if it's a situation that seems so overwhelming, you're going to be not only blinded by your tears, but you're going to be blinded by your blind spots. Have people who can watch your back, watch your six, and can wipe away your tears. Not physically, that's good. But you know what I'm talking about. They'll give you the right perspective, and you can't see correctly.